the original Season 3, Episode 12, Dead Angels. Now, as this being the episode that kind of comes out during, or, just before, like, the Valentine's weekend, this episode had no regard towards the, it's a simple little thing, like, not many shows kind of celebrate it, but this is one of those things, like, with the originals and Vampire Diaries, they can always do something a little weird to kind of revolve around it, because it would be like, oh, it's supposed to be this loving day, and then things are just chaotic. In this, it's just pure chaos. There's no mention of it or anything like that, which makes sense, because it would kind of throw off the timeline, I guess. Not that they give specific dates, so they could have just been like, poof, it's, Valentine's Day, or it's coming up. But it was funny watching this episode, and it's like, man, everything in this was just betrayal and hate and spite and trickery and stuff like that. And the only real thing in this episode that kind of happened that was good was Elijah and Marcel working together, which admittedly I totally forgot that they were doing that. So when Marcel did that, I was like, oh crap, he's taking back for himself. But I had forgotten they talked about that and stuff, and maybe they hadn't, so it was a reveal, and I just forgot that they, I don't know. But I'm pretty sure I remember, like, I might have seen a couple episodes back where they were talking like, oh, we gotta figure this stuff out, and that's why Marcel joined the Strix to begin with. So that was a little while back, so I kind of forgot that they were actually working together. But that was kind of the only good thing that happened. Cami had the white oak steak, or the white oak horse. Klaus was being Klaus, and he was being mad, and they did have a really good point though when he showed up, and Cami's like, huh. It's crazy because that looks like a third of what you stole from me. It's like, she was so right by saying it was a simple agreement. You give me my stuff. I give you literally the one thing on this entire planet that can actually kill you. But instead, your idea is to, just go up against us and you just take us down. That's your whole plan right now. So it was just kind of funny. It was like, she has such a great point right now, and of course she's not in her normal mind, because of course she wouldn't have stolen the horse in the first place. And Vincent was right when he said that. He was like, the only reason you know so much is because Klaus trusted you, and that woman that he trusted never would have stolen, the horse. And as Cami said, that woman is dead. And I like the fact that she is, character-wise, I like the fact that she's taking these interesting steps. I hate that it happens because I like Cami, and I like, nice Cami, and I've mentioned because of her, fake crying and stuff before, that she'd be like a great supervillain because of all of that. So character-wise, it's cool to see her develop in this way, but at the same time, it's like, man, that really sucks, because Cami was such a nice, good character, and I was like, man, I don't know. I mean, she kind of does go back to being okay with Klaus a little bit. They have like a legitimate argument. They aren't fighting, and it's just like, I'm super mad that you screwed up, and you set up this whole plan to kind of force me to give you your stuff back, and then you lost the item, the one thing that I really need, and now we can be killed. And I thought it was kind of cool. It was just fun watching that happen, and they were just having a legitimate argument, like, yeah, this really freaking sucks, but it happens, like, oh well, like, and she was like, thank goodness I have my dark objects, or I would have been dead. And then it's just kind of funny, because like, well, you wouldn't have been there if you didn't steal the thing, and then that goes right back to Klaus, like, she wouldn't have been there if he didn't still, try to take all of her stuff, because she was kind of losing it, which, once again, I know why he did that, because he thought maybe with her having access to all these dark objects, it would kind of take her to a point that was, even further than all the craziness that she was already, going through, like just eating whoever and stuff like that. So it was kind of funny watching them go through that. The reveal that Aurora was the one that the girl was actually working for, that was a nice little twist. I'd completely forgotten about her and Tristan, to be totally honest, or her and Lucian, to be completely honest. So it was like, oh yeah, I forgot that they were in the shadows, somewhere just hidden. And we didn't even see Lucian when he came to rescue her, so she was gone. We haven't seen Lucian in quite a few episodes. I don't know why that is. Probably just, I don't know, an actor thing, I guess. But we haven't seen them in quite a while, so she comes back in. Of course, we all knew she was going to kill that witch. She's like, oh, so you're going to set me free, right? She's like, yeah. And it's like, well, she's gonna just kill her. And then, of course, she's like, I'll do it right now. And it's like, well, now we know she's gonna kill her. And that's what she does. She bites her, leaves her for dead. And the interesting thing about that is with the last episode, we got the introduction of the Strix and their little, powerful witch coven. In the last episode, Elijah killed one of them. And in this episode, Aurora kills one of them. So we have, I believe there were 6 girls initially. So now we're down to 5, including Davina. Depending on kind of how things go. Because they still don't know the secret, which I thought was very cool. Because she was keeping that secret hidden from the Strix. Because it is because she doesn't want some of her friends to die, like Marcel and Josh. So she was keeping that hidden from the Strix as to what could happen. Or, where the weapon could possibly be. And then that secret gets stolen from her, and yet the Strix still don't find out exactly what's happening because, mostly because of the game that Marcel and Elijah are playing. That keeps them a little bit distracted. And this witch, she just goes straight to Aurora, so she doesn't actually, help out the Strix or anything like that. And then she gets killed, and now we have Aurora, who's, of course, like, the most dangerous person right now because she's making bullets, and I believe there were only 6 or 7 bullets, and in the promo she had like a really cool magnum. It had like gold edgings or something like that. It looked really cool, very fancy for vampire killing. But she gets the little bullets made out of wood with the white oak. So I'm really excited to see that happen. I'm sure they're gonna be fine. I'm sure Klaus is gonna get shot or something like that. And they can get shot in the arm. They do have to. I mean, it would be like a normal vampire, I'm pretty sure, because it's been a long time since they've killed one of the originals off. But I'm pretty sure they still have to get stabbed in their heart to officially die. But if they got stabbed like in the arm or something, it would, affect them a lot more than like, oh, you stab me with a sword or something, and it just comes right out. It's like, no, it's the white oak, so it kind of weakens them a lot. But I'm sure they'll be fine. They aren't going to kill them off. And then we get a really great idea from, I believe, it was from Aya, where she talks to Marcel, and it's like, we have, with our witch coven, possibly the ability to sever the ties to the original so they can die off, and everyone else will survive. And they're kind of just like, oh, well, we could team up and kill off all the originals if Marcel wanted to do that and, really take out Klaus and take over the city again. He could try to do that with the help of the Strix. And I was like, that is an awesome idea because it severs that bond, and then that could change allegiances. If Marcel did want to go against Klaus again and say, like, you know what? I ran this city for a super long time. He had a really great speech at the end after he had the charter and everything. It was like, I know Michelson's better than anyone, and that's how I ran them out of town, and I took over, for a super long time. It was because I know the streets and stuff. If they sever this bond, he might really decide, like, you know what? I want these guys gone. He might not want them dead, but it might not matter too much if they did die. They'd just be out of the city. They'd be out of his way. So I don't know. It would be interesting to. It will be interesting to see just how that's going to play out. I don't think it'll happen too soon because that's like the be all end all. And then it's just like, well, if Aurora wanted to, even though at this point, sort of the same deal with the secrets as far as Elijah keeping Rebecca daggered. The only other person that knew that was the other girl, and I'm guessing Davina knows now. I forgot. I kind of skipped right over Davina to the other witch, but I guess Davina would know because that's she got the info from the witch that died, but maybe she wasn't looking through everything, and seemingly what she saw was like current stuff. So I don't know. I guess it was just that I guess she didn't know. She didn't get any real information. She got like her last. I don't know. I guess somehow she was tethered to the house. Like, I'm not sure how that spell worked out, but it was like, that was the big thing, and that was the secret Davina was looking for, so I guess that's why she was sent to the house, and that's how she found that. But, no one still knows about Elijah having daggered Rebecca and stuff like that, so if they ever found out, Aurora could be like, you know what, I'm mad at you too, because all 3 of you were kind of a part of this, sending them off to run from their father for years, centuries, actually. So, I don't know. Like it'll be really cool to see how all this stuff plays out. I mean, we have the ties being broken, which if that does happen, I feel like they're gonna have to do another crossover episode with the Vampire Diaries, because that's kind of, that's worldwide type of news. Like every vampire should know that that's a thing, and I'm pretty sure not a lot of vampires know about the Sireline thing, but they might, because there were 5 originals and 2 of them died, and all of those vampires got killed off across the planet. So I think at this point it would almost be impossible for people to know or not know about the whole Sireline thing. Like they kind of have to stay in line, or if they're in that Sireline, they could die off, and if they're no longer tethered, they can just do whatever they want because they're not stuck in that Sireline anymore. So I don't know. I think it would be cool to have that news kind of spread around, and it goes into the Vampire Diaries and stuff like that. I don't think it wouldn't do much there. It would just be like, well, if they die, at least we know we won't. So that's about it. Just reaction wise, I think that would be a cool little part. And they could also bring in some of the characters to try to help make that happen. Like, I'm trying to think. I don't think Marcel knows anyone. I think it's only, I think it's Klaus, Elijah, and Haley are the only 3 characters in this show that do know anyone from the Vampire Diaries. So it would be a little bit of a workaround to try to like bring in Bonnie or something if they wanted like another really powerful witch or something like that. But I think they could definitely do that and be like, hey, we know you guys hate the originals. It's been a weird up and down, pretty much like every other relationship they've ever made. But we can kind of separate this tether and then get rid of the originals forever. I feel like that's an easy in for crossover potential. So they might end up doing that, which I'd like to see because we haven't seen a crossover. I don't think we had one. I think we had like a little bit of a crossover last time because Tyler came in and they had Nina Dobrev do like the very first doppelganger or something like that. So that's all we've really had, but we haven't had like a really big one for quite a while. And I don't think we ever really had like a really big sort of crossover thing at all, really. But I think this would be great potential to do that again for this season. But I definitely like to see that. Just everything they introduced, I think, was really awesome. Marcel taking over the Strix, and he and Elijah having that plan, I thought was really cool. Of course, Aurora having these bullets for the white oak bullets. I'm really excited to see how all of that pans out. And I don't know if we're gonna see Lucian. He didn't show up in the promo, not from what I saw, like the quick glimpses. I don't think he did, but I'd like to see him come back because it's been such a long time. They even had his apartment in the episode where Cami first went to the house and everything to get her dark objects, and he wasn't there. It was like poof, he's gone, and so is Aurora, and she's shown up and she's in the promo. So I would assume he's gonna have to show up somewhere in this episode because he still doesn't want Klaus to die, because if Klaus dies, he dies. Like, Aurora is totally fine. Like, they got rid of her brother, so she's super pissed about that. Rebecca is gone in the wind. Everyone assumes she's just, on the run, but she's daggered, and, like, even safer than if she was on the run. So Aurora could kill both the originals, and it's like, oh, Lucian died, but who gives enough? And Tristan is stuck in the bottom of the ocean somewhere, which, I don't know, I mean, she'd still have the possibility to find him, so she might not go after Elijah, but Klaus and Lucian kind of just effed, I think, personally. I mean, I think she has nothing, to kind of keep them going, so we'll see how it all plays out. I'm sure they'll be fine, because it's the originals, and, I mean, the stuff they did with Rebecca, I think, was mostly due to Claire Holt not being able to be on the show as much, so they, I doubt they'd ever permanently kill her off anyway, but they certainly aren't going to kill off Klaus or Elijah, because they are the ones that are still in the show 100%, so they'll be fine. But of course, this is one of those situations where it's just like, I know the ending, but I'm very curious to see how they get there, because there's just a lot of madness in between. Who knows what's going to happen with Cami? I mean, she's still not exactly 100% adjusted to being a vampire. And I think technically within these past 2 episodes, it's only been 2 days or maybe 3 days or something. So it's not like she's had like a week or something to adjust. It's still only been like the first 2 or 3 days for her. So it's still got a long way to go to see where her character how long it takes for a character to finally balance out and kind of get back to normal again. But I'm really looking forward to it. I certainly enjoyed this episode. Can't wait to see where they take the sire line severing thing, because that should be very exciting. So looking forward to that for sure. But definitely want to know what you guys thought about this episode. So please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts, and what do you guys think is going to happen now that Marcel and Elijah kind of have control over the Strix now? Because the whole point of this was not only would they get control, but they were also keeping the Strix busy from realizing, like, oh, the White Oak stake is out there and we can potentially take down Klaus if we wanted to. But, they kept them busy, and it allowed for Marcel and Elijah to have their plan to, have someone that they trust, which is, of course, Marcel, to really take over. So there's some possibilities, but Marcel's kind of hit with that thing, like, hey, you might not be tethered for too much longer, so who gives enough whether Klaus lives or dies? Like, the prophecy doesn't matter if we aren't affected anymore. So, he's got two things. Like, he can stick with them, with the originals, or he can go his own way with the Strix now and kind of take that path of split the tether and be 100% free. So I want to know which way you guys think that's going to go, or maybe a blend of both. I think personally they're going to do the tether thing, and that'll be like the big suspense, and then it'll be like who's going to side with the originals and who's going to try to kill them just to have them out of the way, because they have a lot of enemies. So obviously they're going to have a bunch of people trying to kill them. Clearly with Aurora, in Aurora's case, whether they're still tethered to a bunch of people or whether they're completely free. So there's a nice little split there, and I think they might do a little blend of both. But definitely want to know what you guys think, so please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.